So we're living in this strange world now as actors where a lot of our auditions are self-tape, where we have to tape them at home. It started during the COVID-19 pandemic. For obvious reasons, they would ask us to film our auditions at home and send them in. And I guess we all got so darn good at it that they decided to keep the practice up, and they, figured out they could save a few bucks by having the actors tape at home. So I would say 75% of the auditions I get these days are self-tapes, which honestly has its advantages and its disadvantages. Huge advantage is it's on your own time, so you don't have to rearrange your schedule for an audition. Disadvantages, of course, you have to turn one of your rooms in your home into a film studio, and you have to buy all the equipment. And that's what I've done, and I figured I'd show you around how I've set things up, just in case you have to do the same and you're not really sure how to get at it. So, first of all, my film studio is in my bedroom. I turn my bedroom into a film studio where I film all of my auditions. Let's show you around now, shall we? So the first thing I did was I just took a wall of my bedroom and I painted it blue. It makes for a nice background, I feel, because I felt it looked best with my complexion, but you can do some tests, some color tests, and decide what looks the best for you. You can use a curtain, you can use a bed sheet, you could use a shower curtain, you can buy a background, or if you have an interesting looking wall in your house. But just don't make the mistake that I did when I first started out. You don't want an interesting background. You want it to be pretty neutral because you want them to focus on your brilliant acting, not the fact that there's interesting stuff behind you like a C-3PO action figure. And then you have to, of course, have a camera. There's my DSLR right there. You can, of course, use your cell phone because cell phones are so darn good these days, the cameras. In fact, I would say most actors probably do use their cell phones these days to shoot auditions. And then also, very important, sound. You really need to have good sound. So I bought this microphone here. It is a shotgun microphone. It's directional, where the sound mostly picks up the sound that comes from the front here, which is great because if you live in a noisy apartment or maybe a noisy area, it blocks out the sound that comes from behind and the sides of the microphone. It's really quite effective and gives you way better sound than you would get just off the microphone on your camera. I live beside a highway and there's, sirens all the time. Yes, welcome to the glamorous life of the working actor. Also, of course, you're going to need some good lighting. I have one of these light panels here. Let me show you. It's a pretty simple thing. That's what it says on the back. I think it was $50 on Temu. Oh, and of course, this is my bedroom. As I stated, I set everything up on my bedroom. Let me pull back a bit. You can see the way I have it set up. See, there's stuff there. And then I stand in front of the wall. You can see here I put a little mark on the floor. That's where I stand. And I have a big fill light here, which is basically that. Let's see if I can get behind. Yeah, so it's just 4 light bulbs in this. I don't know what you'd call that, a light switch. And then you put a big umbrella over it, and it sort of diffuses the light and makes a nice fill light. Altogether, that's pretty much my setup. We got 2 lights, we have a camera, and a microphone. You see the cord for the microphone that goes into the camera. You can get adapters that will run a cord like this into your smartphone as well if you want to go the smartphone route for filming, which I think most people do. And, it makes sense because smartphones have follow focus, whereas these DSLRs, it's kind of tough sometimes to get the focus right. And last but not least, you might need one of these. I use him to get the focus on my camera to frame my shot just so I know what I can be seeing. So when I shoot an audition, you kind of see this setup. There's my lights, there's my camera, there's my reader. So in the end, price-wise, the fill light cost me about $150, the panel light was about $50, the microphone about $250, stands maybe $75, and of course the most expensive thing is the camera, which can go anywhere from $500 to thousands. I use a DSLR because I already owned one when this all began. And if you're going to use a camera like this, they're pretty heavy, so make sure you get a good tripod because you don't want camera shake. But honestly, this can be done very affordably. Use your smartphone, get a cheap tripod, get cheap lights. These panel lights I got from Temu for $50. You can get 2 of those. The only thing I would encourage you not to scrimp on is the sound, because I find that bad sound can ruin a good tape really fast.
Even just watching this video, I'm sure you notice when I go around behind my camera and the voice changes a little bit and it sounds not as good. You want to get as good a sound as you possibly can. But in the end, I think budget-wise, you can probably get a setup for yourself for $400 maybe. And if you want to go with a good camera, it's going to cost you more, obviously.
But that's pretty much it. Then you'll film your audition, and you'll edit your audition, and you'll send it off, and hopefully you will book the job. All right. Brick a